think the first group had it rough. The next stories are even more unbelievable. These stars didn't just lose money, they lost homes, careers, reputations, and in some cases the very lives they worked so hard to build. From chart-topping singers to Hollywood icons, their downfalls prove one shocking truth: fame can make you rich, but it can't protect you from life's hardest battles. Number 1. Wesley Snipes. In the 1990s, Wesley Snipes was one of Hollywood's most unstoppable action stars. Whether he was battling vampires in Blade, dominating the screen in New Jack City, or showcasing his charisma in blockbuster hits, Snipes had become a household name. He possessed the rare combination of talent, athleticism, and star power that made audiences believe he could take on anyone and win. For years, his career seemed virtually untouchable. Then came a controversy that stunned Hollywood. Unlike many celebrity downfalls driven by addiction or scandal, Snipes' troubles came from legal and financial problems. In 2008, he became the center of a highly publicized tax case that resulted in a conviction for failing to file tax returns. Suddenly, one of the industry's biggest stars found himself facing something no movie script could solve with a dramatic fight scene. The courtroom had replaced the red carpet, and prison bars were replacing movie sets. Even Blade couldn't slash his way out of paperwork. The conviction led to a prison sentence that placed his thriving career on hold and cast a shadow over his reputation. For many fans, it was difficult to comprehend how someone who had achieved so much could see everything jeopardized by financial mismanagement. Yet what makes Snipes' story compelling is what happened next. Rather than disappearing from public life, he worked to rebuild his career after his release, returning to acting and gradually reclaiming his place in the entertainment industry. Number 2. Randy Quaid. For decades, Randy Quaid was one of Hollywood's most recognizable character actors. With memorable performances in films like National Lampoon's Vacation and The Last Detail, he built a career that many actors could only dream of. Audiences loved his unique blend of humor, unpredictability, and larger-than-life personality. He had critical acclaim, industry respect, and a successful career that appeared secure. As the years passed, Quaid and his wife became entangled in a series of legal troubles involving arrests, property disputes, and allegations that generated widespread media attention. The couple made headlines with increasingly unusual claims, insisting that a mysterious group they called the Hollywood Star Whackers was targeting celebrities. Whether viewed as conspiracy paranoia or something in between, and the allegations transformed Randy from a respected actor into one of Hollywood's most controversial figures. The legal battles eventually stretched across borders as the couple sought refuge in Canada while continuing to fight their various disputes. What made the story so captivating was its sheer unpredictability. One day, Randy was starring in major Hollywood productions. The next, he was making headlines for reasons no screenwriter could have imagined. There's an old saying that truth is stranger than fiction, and Randy Quaid's story might be one of Hollywood's best examples. Number 3. Brett Butler. In the 1990s, Brett Butler was one of television's biggest stars. As the sharp-witted lead of Grace Under Fire, she connected with audiences through her humor, authenticity, and fearless personality. Week after week, millions tuned in to watch her, and her success turned her into one of the most recognizable faces on television. From the outside, it seemed like Brett had finally found her perfect Hollywood ending. But behind the laughter, trouble was quietly building. Struggles with substance abuse, financial difficulties, and growing tensions behind the scenes began affecting both her career and personal life. As the problems intensified, the success she had worked so hard to achieve started slipping away. Eventually, Butler's fall from stardom became so severe that she reportedly experienced periods of homelessness. It's a shocking twist for someone who once starred in a hit show about overcoming life's challenges. Reality, it seems, wasn't nearly as forgiving as television scripts. Yet what makes Brett's story remarkable is that she refused to let failure become her final chapter. After seeking treatment and confronting her personal struggles, she slowly began rebuilding her life and career. Though the spotlight was never quite as bright as before, she continued moving forward with determination and honesty. Number 4. Gary Coleman. Few child stars were as beloved as Gary Coleman. As Arnold Jackson on Diff'rent Strokes, he became one of the biggest television sensations of the late 1970s and early 1980s. His famous catchphrase, "quick wit," and unforgettable personality made him a household name across America. For millions of viewers, Gary wasn't just a TV star, he was the heart of the show. With fame, money, and endless popularity arriving at such a young age, it seemed he was set for life. But once the cameras stopped rolling, reality told a very different story. Despite earning substantial money during his childhood career, Coleman became embroiled in legal battles involving his finances and those entrusted to manage them. As acting opportunities declined, financial troubles followed, forcing him into a difficult struggle to maintain the lifestyle many assumed he still enjoyed. It's one of Hollywood's most painful ironies. The child who made millions laugh spent much of adulthood fighting problems money was supposed to solve. Yet Gary never lost the humor that made audiences love him. Whether appearing in commercials, television interviews, or public events, he continued trying to reinvent himself long after his sitcom fame had faded. Sadly, the challenges never completely disappeared. When he passed away in 2010, fans around the world mourned not only a talented actor, but also a man who spent much of his life battling circumstances far beyond the television screen. Number 5. Aaron Carter. At the turn of the millennium, Aaron Carter was everywhere. With hit songs like Aaron's Party, Come Get It sold out concerts and a fan base made up of millions of screaming teenagers, he became one of the biggest young stars of his generation. As the younger brother of a famous boy band member, Aaron seemed destined for a life of fame and fortune. For a while, he had exactly that. But behind the platinum albums and television appearances, a much darker story was unfolding. As he grew older, Carter faced mounting struggles with addiction, mental health challenges, legal disputes, and financial difficulties. The pressure of growing up in the spotlight appeared to weigh heavily on him, and his personal battles often played out in public view. The same fame that had made him a teen idol seemed to become a burden he could never fully escape. It's a cruel twist. Millions wanted his life while Aaron was desperately trying to manage it. In later years, he openly spoke about his efforts to seek treatment and regain control of his future. Fans hoped he would complete one of Hollywood's greatest comeback stories. Sadly, that ending never came. His passing in 2022 shocked fans around the world and reignited conversations about the pressures faced by child stars. Number 6. Todd Bridges. Taking the number 1 spot on our list is Todd Bridges, a man whose life perfectly captures both the dangers of fame and the power of redemption. As Willis Jackson on Diff'rent Strokes, Bridges became one of the most recognizable young stars on television. With his charm, confidence, and memorable performances, he seemed to have everything a child actor could want. Millions of viewers watched him grow up on screen, and his future looked brighter than ever. But when the spotlight faded, life became far more complicated. During his teenage years and into adulthood, Bridges struggled with serious substance abuse problems that led to legal troubles, arrests, and a period of incarceration. The actor, who once entertained families every week, found himself fighting battles that threatened to destroy his career and his future. Hollywood has produced plenty of comeback stories, but at one point, Todd's situation looked less like a comeback and more like a final curtain call. Yet, unlike many tragic celebrity tales, Todd Bridges refused to let his worst mistakes define him. Determined to change the direction of his life, he sought treatment, embraced recovery, and gradually rebuilt his reputation. Over time, he transformed from a troubled former child star into an advocate for addiction recovery and mental health awareness. There's an irony worthy of a Hollywood script. The boy who once needed saving became someone helping others save themselves. His journey is proof that fame can disappear, fortunes can vanish, and mistakes can pile up. But as long as there's determination, a second act is always possible. In the end, Todd Bridges didn't just survive his downfall, he rewrote the ending. Number 7. Kelly Rutherford. For years, Kelly Rutherford seemed to be living a real-life Hollywood fairy tale. Best known for her role as the elegant Lily Vander Woodson on Gossip Girl, she embodied wealth, sophistication, and success. On screen, she played a glamorous mother navigating family drama from luxurious penthouses. Off-screen, however, she would soon find herself trapped in a battle far more devastating than anything television writers could invent. What began as a difficult divorce quickly escalated into one of Hollywood's most heartbreaking custody disputes. As legal fees piled up year after year, Kelly reportedly spent millions fighting for the right to be with her children. Court hearings replaced red carpets, and legal documents became a larger part of her life than movie scripts. In a cruel twist of fate, the actress known for portraying a wealthy socialite was watching her own finances crumble under the weight of endless litigation. It's the kind of irony that would seem too dramatic even for a primetime soap opera. As the battle dragged on, Kelly's financial situation deteriorated significantly, forcing her to sell assets and dramatically change her lifestyle. Yet through it all, she remained focused on what mattered most: her children. While many celebrity scandals are fueled by excess, this story was driven by something far more human: a mother's determination not to give up. Kelly Rutherford's journey is a powerful reminder that not every downfall begins with addiction or bad decisions. Sometimes it begins with a fight for family. And sometimes the most expensive thing a celebrity ever loses isn't money, it's time. Number 8. Tatum O'Neal. Most child actors dream of winning an Oscar. Tatum O'Neal did it before most kids finish elementary school. At just 10 years old, she became the youngest competitive Academy Award winner in history for her unforgettable performance in Paper Moon. Hollywood had found its newest wonder child, and the future seemed limitless. Fame, fortune, and critical acclaim arrived almost overnight. But as Tatum would later discover, growing up in Hollywood can be far more difficult than becoming famous there. Behind the headlines and red carpet appearances, her personal life was far from perfect. Family tensions, emotional struggles, and the immense pressure of early fame followed her into adulthood. As the years passed, Tatum battled addiction and found herself caught in a cycle of personal setbacks that repeatedly threatened to overshadow her remarkable achievements. The little girl who once held an Oscar in her hands was now fighting to hold her life together. It's one of Hollywood's cruelest contradictions. Winning the biggest prize in the industry doesn't come with instructions for surviving adulthood. Her highly publicized relationships and personal struggles often generated more attention than her acting career, creating a painful contrast to the promise she once represented. Yet through the chaos, Tatum repeatedly fought to reclaim her life, speaking openly about addiction recovery and the challenges of growing up in the spotlight. Number 9. Michael Jackson. Few people in history have reached the level of fame achieved by Michael Jackson. Known around the world as the King of Pop, he shattered records, sold hundreds of millions of albums, and created some of the most iconic music ever recorded. At his peak, Michael wasn't just a superstar, he was a global phenomenon. With Neverland Ranch, sold-out stadiums, and a lifestyle larger than life itself, it seemed impossible to imagine him ever facing financial trouble. Yet behind the dazzling performances and moonwalks, a financial storm was quietly brewing. Despite earning enormous sums throughout his career, Jackson's extravagant spending habits, costly legal battles, and mounting debts gradually created a serious financial crisis. Reports suggested that by the mid-2000s he was carrying hundreds of millions of dollars in debt. The situation became so severe that the future of Neverland Ranch, his most famous possession, was thrown into doubt. It's one of the greatest ironies in entertainment history. The man who sold millions of records was struggling under a mountain of bills. Still, Michael never stopped planning his comeback. In his final years, he prepared for what many believed would be one of the biggest concert returns ever staged. Fans hoped the King of Pop would once again reclaim his throne. Although his story ended far sooner than anyone expected, his legacy never faded. Michael Jackson's journey is a reminder that even unimaginable success comes with risks. Fame can make someone rich, but it doesn't make them immune to financial mistakes, pressure, or personal struggles. Long after the spotlight dimmed, the legend remained larger than life. Number 10. Nicolas Cage. For years, Nicolas Cage lived the kind of life that seemed straight out of one of his own movies, bigger, louder, and more unbelievable than reality itself. As the star of blockbuster hits like National Treasure Face, Off and Gone in 60 Seconds, Cage became one of Hollywood's highest-paid actors. At his peak, he earned tens of millions of dollars and appeared unstoppable. But while most celebrities collect houses, Nicolas Cage seemed determined to collect an entire civilization. Over the years, Cage purchased castles, private islands, luxury mansions, rare cars, dinosaur skulls, exotic pets, and enough unusual treasures to make a museum curator nervous. The spending became legendary. Unfortunately, so did the consequences. As expenses skyrocketed and tax problems mounted, reports revealed that Cage owed millions to the IRS. One by one, properties were sold, assets disappeared, and the actor who once owned some of the most extravagant real estate in the world was forced to dramatically scale back his lifestyle. It's hard to imagine, but at one point, Cage was spending money faster than his action heroes escaped explosions. Yet unlike many celebrity downfall stories, Nicolas refused to disappear. Instead, he took on project after project, working tirelessly to pay off debts and rebuild his finances. While critics joked about the sheer number of movies he appeared in, Cage had a mission: survival. Number 11. Toni Braxton. With one of the most recognizable voices in modern music, Toni Braxton seemed destined for a life of endless success. Songs like Unbreak My Heart, Breathe Again, and You're Makin' Me High transformed her into a global superstar, selling millions of albums and earning countless awards. To fans, Toni appeared to have everything: fame, talent, wealth, and a career most artists could only dream about. But behind the platinum records was a financial story few people saw coming. Despite generating enormous success, Braxton found herself facing severe financial difficulties more than once. Contract disputes, mounting expenses, health-related challenges, and business obligations gradually created a perfect storm. In one of the most shocking twists of her career, Toni filed for bankruptcy not once but twice. For many fans, it seemed impossible. How could a singer whose songs dominated radio stations around the world be struggling financially? It's a reminder that in the entertainment industry, selling millions of records doesn't always mean keeping millions of dollars. Yet what makes Toni's story remarkable is her determination to keep fighting. Rather than disappearing from the spotlight, she continued recording music, performing, and rebuilding her career. She openly discussed her financial setbacks, proving that even major stars can experience very human struggles. There's a strange irony in it all. The woman who famously sang "Unbreak My Heart" spent years refusing to let life break her spirit. Through setbacks, embarrassment, and uncertainty, Toni Braxton remained standing. Number 12. Dennis Rodman. Few athletes have ever lived a life as wild, unpredictable, and headline-grabbing as Dennis Rodman. On the basketball court, he was a legend. As a key member of the Chicago Bulls dynasty, alongside Michael Jordan, Rodman won multiple NBA championships and became one of the greatest rebounders in the history of the game. With his colorful hair, fearless attitude, and larger-than-life personality, he wasn't just a basketball player, he was a walking spectacle. But while Rodman dominated opponents on the court, managing life off the court proved far more difficult. After earning tens of millions of dollars throughout his career, financial troubles gradually began to surface. Expensive lifestyles, legal issues, child support disputes, and years of instability reportedly took a heavy toll on his finances. Fans were stunned to learn that a man who once stood at the center of basketball's greatest dynasty was facing serious money problems. It's a strange irony. Rodman could grab every rebound imaginable, but keeping hold of his fortune turned out to be the tougher challenge. As the years passed, Rodman's life became a mix of controversy, personal struggles, and unexpected headlines. Yet through all the chaos, he never lost the personality that made him famous. Whether appearing in reality shows making international headlines or sharing stories from his extraordinary career, Rodman remained impossible to ignore. Number 13. Sinead O'Connor. Few artists have ever possessed a voice as haunting and unforgettable as Sinead O'Connor's. When Nothing Compares. To You became a worldwide sensation. She transformed from a talented Irish singer into an international superstar almost overnight. Her shaved head, fearless personality, and refusal to follow industry rules made her impossible to ignore. While other celebrities carefully protected their image, Sinead seemed determined to tell the truth exactly as she saw it, no matter the consequences. That independence came at a price. Throughout her career, Sinead found herself at the center of controversies that divided fans and critics alike. Public backlash, professional setbacks, and years of scrutiny gradually pushed her further from the mainstream spotlight. At the same time, she openly struggled with mental health challenges, loneliness, and emotional pain. The same honesty that made her admired by some often left her isolated from others. In an industry built on popularity, Sinead frequently chose principle over approval, a decision that wasn't always rewarded. Yet beneath the headlines was a deeply sensitive artist searching for peace. While many stars spent their careers chasing attention, Sinead often seemed to be searching for something far more valuable: understanding. There's a bittersweet irony in her story. The woman who sang one of the most emotional songs ever recorded spent much of her life trying to heal her own heartbreak. When she passed away in 2023, fans around the world remembered not just her controversies, but her courage, authenticity, and extraordinary talent. Number 14. Andy Dick. At one time, Andy Dick was one of Hollywood's most recognizable comedians. With memorable appearances on television shows, movies, and comedy programs throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, he built a reputation as a quick-witted entertainer who could always grab attention. Whether audiences loved him or found him unpredictable, one thing was certain: Andy Dick was never boring. But behind the laughs was a battle that seemed to follow him for decades. Struggles with substance abuse repeatedly led to legal troubles, arrests, and public controversies that overshadowed his career. As opportunities in Hollywood became harder to find, his personal life grew increasingly unstable. The headlines often focused less on his comedy and more on his latest run-in with the law. In a strange way, Andy became famous for being famous for the wrong reasons. It's the kind of career twist that would sound like a joke if it weren't real. As the years passed, reports emerged of financial difficulties and periods where Andy appeared to be living on the margins of society, far removed from the entertainment world that once embraced him. Fans who remembered the energetic comedian were shocked by images showing just how far he had fallen. Yet beneath the controversy was a familiar Hollywood story, talent colliding with personal demons. Andy Dick's journey serves as a cautionary tale about how quickly success can unravel when addiction takes control. It's heartbreaking, chaotic, and at times almost unbelievable, but it also reminds us that behind every scandal is a person struggling to find a way back. Number 15. Sly Stone. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, Sly Stone wasn't just making music, he was changing it. As the visionary leader of Sly and the Family Stone, he helped create some of the most influential funk, soul, and rock music ever recorded. Hits like Everyday People and Dance to the Music turned him into a cultural icon, inspiring generations of artists who followed. At his peak, Sly seemed unstoppable, the kind of star whose success would last forever. But behind the electrifying performances and groundbreaking music, trouble was quietly building. As fame grew, so did struggles with substance abuse, missed performances, and financial problems. The man who once performed before massive crowds gradually drifted away from the spotlight. Years of personal and financial difficulties took a heavy toll, and in one of the most shocking twists in music history, reports emerged that Sly had spent time living in a van parked in Los Angeles. Imagine that for a moment, a pioneer who helped shape modern music sleeping in a vehicle while his songs continued playing on radio stations around the world. That's a plot twist even Hollywood might reject for being too unbelievable. Yet despite the hardship, Sly Stone's influence never disappeared. Musicians continued sampling his work, praising his creativity, and recognizing the enormous impact he had on popular music. His story is both heartbreaking and fascinating, a reminder that talent and success don't always guarantee stability. Sometimes the people who change the world struggle the most to navigate their own. Even after the spotlight faded, Sly Stone remained what he had always been: a legend. Number 16. Fantasia Barrino. When Fantasia Barrino won American Idol in 2004, her story felt like a modern fairy tale. A young woman from humble beginnings suddenly became one of the most recognizable voices in America. Her powerful performances, raw emotion, and inspiring life story won over millions of fans. Record deals, awards, television appearances, and chart success quickly followed. It looked as though Fantasia had finally reached the dream she had fought so hard to achieve. But fame didn't erase life's challenges. Behind the success, Fantasia faced mounting financial pressures, personal struggles, and difficult legal issues. In one of the most shocking chapters of her journey, reports revealed that she was at risk of losing her home during a period of severe financial hardship. For fans, it was almost impossible to believe. How could a Grammy-winning singer who had conquered one of the biggest stages in the world be facing such a crisis? It was a reminder that celebrity success and financial security aren't always the same thing. Hollywood loves a happy ending, but sometimes it forgets to mention the bills. What happened next is what makes Fantasia's story truly remarkable. Instead of allowing adversity to define her, she fought back. Through determination, hard work, and a renewed focus on her career, she gradually rebuilt her finances and reclaimed her place in the spotlight. New music, successful tours, and acclaimed performances helped write a very different ending. There's something poetic about it. The woman who first inspired America with her resilience ended up inspiring them all over again. Fantasia's journey proves that losing everything doesn't have to be the end of the story. Sometimes it's just the beginning of the comeback.